Meet Tracy. She used to listen to these Path to Parenthood interviews on walks by herself because she said they made me feel less lonely. Tracy went through multiple years of fertility treatments, 5 failed treatments, endometriosis surgery, thinking that would finally be the answer. And it wasn't quite it yet. So Tracy talks to us about what she does, what advice she would give to those who are in her similar journey, and how the lessons that her daughter taught her way before she was born, has now led to basically her divine life of greatness and happiness. Okay, here's Tracy. It's so good to see you. Thank you for doing this with me.
Of course.
Oh,
of course.
Okay. Well, I love your story. I mean, I love a lot of stories, but I really love your story too. I don't want to make it seem like I don't love all my clients equally, but you really. Why don't you tell us kind of where you were at when you started? Because I really feel like you didn't think what happened was possible. So,
absolutely, yeah.
Why don't you just start with like where were you mentally, physically when we met?
Yeah, when we met, I had been through 5 rounds of IVF. Surgery for endometriosis, a couple transfers with nothing to show for it, no implantation, nothing. And, I remember I had been listening to your podcast. I was very familiar with who you were. I was doing your free webinars, your egg quality, all that stuff, your protocol. And I remember after a few years of these IVFs, and especially the 5th one being so devastating because it was after endo surgery and it just didn't turn out how I wanted it to. I remember turning to my husband and saying, like, I want to work with Tasha. This is what she does. I want to give this last round our all, because the 6th round was the last one covered by insurance. And I was mentally and physically done with IVF. I had one more in me. And that's when I pulled you in, Tasha, because I wanted to make sure that I knew I was doing everything I could. If I could bring this baby in with my own egg, which I felt I could, but if I couldn't, I was okay with that as long as I felt like I left it, every stone was unturned.
Yeah.
And that's where you came in.
Oh.
Yeah.
So when you say the 6th round was your last one, what was going to happen if it wasn't successful?
So I had learned about, through Resolve New England, actually, egg donation was the next step, or domestic infant adoption we had learned about. That's as far as we had dipped our toes in. But at that point, we decided we were going to be parents no matter what, no matter how this baby decided to come into our lives. But those were the next steps. So round 6, I was done. My body was done. And the next step was egg donor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. And so, and how was that, the years of IVF and the 5 rounds, like impacting your day-to-day, your friendships, your relationships with yourself, others?
Yeah. I mean, it was all consuming. It was the first thing I thought about in the morning. It was the last thing I thought about going to sleep. It took over my life. And I have very supportive friends and family. I was lucky enough to have a friend who had been through it herself, who really kind of took me under her wing and helped me right from the get-go. But it was all consuming. It was my life.
Yeah, I know what that's like.
Yeah. Does it sound familiar?
I know what that's like. Yeah. It's, I call it IVF jail. It's like, you're not free. You're not free to live your life, it's like you said, it's all consuming and it's all you think about. Yeah. Okay. And so what changes did you make that you feel made the biggest impact in terms of science, survival mode shift, or spirit, or maybe all 3?
Yeah. I mean, science for me, it was addressing this endometriosis issue, which is its own podcast in itself. But After 4 failed rounds, I wasn't going to settle for the unexplained diagnosis. It just didn't make sense with my counts and everything. So that was huge for me. Nervous system support, huge. I mean, you can't be in survival mode when you're trying to bring a child in. And I know that was a huge part of your program too. I mean, it is. It's everything. I remember sitting down with Charlie to talk about the program. Yeah. And I'm there and I'm just like, I just need Tasha's help with like protocol. Like I got everything else down. I've got nutrition. I've got it all down. And she's like, yeah, that's kind of what everyone says, but okay. And it's the space, Tasha. It's the space. So
that was science. No, yeah.
Yeah.
So science, definitely survival mode, which you shift, which you did not think you needed.
Right. I thought I had, been there,
which nobody thinks they need. I'm always like, well, we're going to check anyway. And then the spirit part of it, like the, mind work, support, things like that.
Yeah. I really leaned into the spirit babies. I remember listening to your podcast with Isabel on one of my walks and just really, really connecting with that, and getting to work with her when I was in your program was awesome. She's amazing. So really leaning into the spirit side of things for me was, I can't control how and when my baby will come, but they're coming to me. And I know that. That kind of opened up space in my body for like taking my hands off the wheel and how this is going to happen. As soon as I opened up to other options, I knew no matter what I would be a mom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what is life now like internally and externally?
It's funny because everything I learned about myself and tools and everything through the fertility process, it is all translated to motherhood. None of it is wasted time, which I think is really important to remember when you're in the trenches and you want to be pregnant yesterday. Everything you're learning about yourself, about how to take care of yourself, like it will all translate to parenthood, because it's not, you kind of see it as a finish line, right? Especially when you're struggling to get pregnant. I'll get pregnant, have the baby, and then we're good. And it's like, well, yeah, things keep going. There's no finish line really. So, all of this is just translated to raising my daughter and taking care of myself while I'm raising my daughter. Yeah.
Yes, that I love that. Yeah. All of the, the science stuff goes away once you get and stay pregnant.
Right.
But the survival mode shift in spirit, that is lifelong. And I always tell people, if you learn this, I didn't learn this stuff till after my kids are born. So I was in my 40s. So if you learn this stuff now, you have a very different pregnancy, as well as postpartum experience, as well as motherhood experience, not just with how your body feels, but especially like the taming the mean girl living in your head and those types of things, where the giving up control, right? Taking your hand off the wheel, not for parenting, but hopefully, which I try to teach, for expectations of this other human that we have asked to join us.
Right.
Yeah. I know my expectations were just hilarious.
I know. I think about that too. Like when I look at my daughter and you think, oh, she's half me, half someone else, or whatever she's composed of, but she's her own person. She's not half me, half you, half whatever. She is her own thing. Mm-hmm. And that was even like the first lesson with, having her. I was just like, oh, you are your own human. You are doing your own thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And it makes it interesting. It's like, hey, who are you? Right? Not, I hope you're like me. I hope who are you? Right. Yes. And just kind of that sense of, I love that, yeah. I love that you have that curious sense of parenthood of, you're your own person, and I'm excited to get to know you.
Right. And I don't think I would have had that perspective if it wasn't for the struggle to get to this place.
Yeah. I get it. I get it.
And my
So how old is
postpartum
your,
was way better because at that point in my life, I was okay with asking for help. Where
Mm,
beginning of this journey, I can tell you, like, no, I could just put my head down and like push through anything, right? But that tactic was not working. So I learned how to ask for help. And that translated in a huge way to postpartum because I set myself up with support after. And I don't even want to think about what life would have been like if I hadn't done that. So again, none of it is wasted time or energy. Yeah.
I love that so much. I do remember even when we started working together, you were guarded when
Yeah.
we started working together, just, cautious, cautiously,
Totally.
guarded, which is usual. Fine. I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's just, I just
Yeah.
remember, and then the more that we worked together, the more I got to know you, you were very, very open. It was almost like your heart, like, you know,
That's
started
exactly what
ticking
happened.
open.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think that happens a lot. If people allow it, it happens a lot,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
We go from data, science, tell me what to do, don't give me too many extras, to like, hey, let's let's play with some other things now.
Yeah. You're just broken wide open at that point. I remember I'm like, what do I have to lose here? And I would just hop on the calls and, bring my perspective to it and ask for help and just not be so concerned about what other people are thinking or how they're feeling if I'm asking this question. Just Heather really helped me with that too. My coach, she always says, I picture myself with a jacket and unzipping the front and just letting it all happen, essentially.
Oh,
And I always think back to that.
I love that.
Yeah, yeah, she's
Yeah.
great.
Our success coaches are the best.
Yeah,
Yeah, Heather was my client. She has a great
that's
story.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So if you could give somebody that was in your exact same situation, years of IVF treatments, 5 failed treatments, finding you at endo way too late, doing the surgery, thinking it will be the one on top of IVF and it not working still. You have somebody there. What advice would you give them to start thriving instead of barely hanging by a thread?
Get supports, whatever that looks like for you. So for me, which I never thought I'd be a person to say, I had a coach. I worked with an endo coach. I worked with you. I worked with an IVF coach. And through your program, through both the programs, there were supports within there. Right. So you find what works for you as far as supports go. Some people, could like yoga and showing up to yoga. I did fertility yoga for a while and there was a great community there and that resonated with me. It doesn't resonate with anyone. Whatever support looks like for you, because you're going to be putting a lot of energy out. You need to figure out how to kind of, for lack of a better term, fill your own cup up, which again translates to parenthood. But you're going to drive yourself mad if you're not taking care of your needs and taking time and energy to actually do that.
Yeah. And you also made me think of another point, which I haven't heard yet, which is kind of, if you're putting yourself out there to receive, it also needs to be the right energy for you.
Yes, exactly. Instead of just doing all the things just to check the boxes, like kind of sit with what feels right for you. And that can kind of help you choose the path of what support will probably be the best for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody's like, should I do acupuncture? I go, tell me about how it feels when you do it. That's going to be my first question always, because acupuncture is amazing. If you hate it, do not do it.
Yeah. Exactly.
So where are we at? Yeah. So I love that you put yourself into groups that helped to heal you, that had an energy that could help your energy, whether it's shift or grow in the right direction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
Okay. Last question. Why do you think you were on this extraordinary fertility journey?
Oh, my daughter wanted to get here. And the pull was really, really strong. yeah, when I think back at the journey, and I don't want to be one of those people like, it happened for a reason, because I don't like that. But when I see how everything came together, like I got my health in order before my daughter got here. I don't know if I would ever have gotten that addressed if it weren't for this struggle. I connected to myself on much, much deeper level, connected to other people. I've created a whole community for myself with people I can lean on through this struggle. So this whole journey kind of broke me wide open so I could build myself back up how I really, in a more authentic way. You know, it kind of helped rip away the BS layers. And my girl taught me all that before she was even here. So still, yeah, I don't want to put a nice bow on it because I don't want to, glorify infertility because it fucking sucks. But yeah, it was all for my daughter. She's the best.
She's the best.
She's the best.
And she's on our Instagram and she is so stinking cute. You could tell who she is because she looks so much like you.
Which is something I never thought I'd be able to say. Towards the end there, and I had accepted it, but like, I still can't believe I got pregnant, had such a wonderful pregnancy with my own egg.
Yeah.
It happened. I pinch myself every morning when I see her. It's incredible.
It happened.
Yeah.
And it's not like you had you had all these follicles to work with. It was like,
no,
you made it. We had a few and we made them work.
That's right.
Oh, I love that.
That's right. Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I love what you just said about, I love how you just ended that with, it's not, it's not about, we talk a lot about this journey happened for us. I do believe that for myself, but it doesn't mean it's easy. It means what I tell myself is I was meant to do hard things, and everybody who I know that is doing hard things that I admire, that has really made a difference or made a change, has been through a lot of shit.
It's true.
A lot of shit. And yeah, I've actually, because it keeps coming. I don't know if you know that yet.
I've noticed, Tasha.
But I actually look at it as a compliment, and I know that that's crazy, but I don't like it. But
right,
it's a compliment because if I were playing it safe, playing my life safe, my health safe, like just being, I wouldn't be experiencing this stuff.
Exactly. So, absolutely.
Again, it doesn't make it easier, but that's how I know. And I love that, know that your daughter was like, Mom, I think you should
get some shit in order before I arrive. Thank you very much. It's true.
I'm not fixing that. All right, my love. Thank you so much for doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you for everything you do, Tasha. Look at you. You turned your story, your struggle into something so amazing that I'm so grateful for. So many of us are so grateful for you. So I just wanted to remind you how special you are in this program is. Just thank you.
Oh, thank you. And I'm receiving that.
Good. Proud of you.
Well, that was our uncovering for the day. If you have a feeling that your IVF protocols or strategies could use a second opinion, start with our website, tashablasi.com, for resources and even a free discovery call where we can learn about your specific IVF needs and see how we can help.